Jeffrey Gitomer says, instead of thinking end of month, begin thinking end of time. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Champion Reads, where we are here to read, review, talk about, and share our opinions about the things we're learning in very awesome bestseller books and books that we just chose to read. In fact, this one book we were really inspired to read just due to a need in our world, an increase of expertise, knowledge, and application in the world of sales. And I know that that's not everyone's favorite topic, but yet it needs to be, because there's some great principles that we're going to be discussing today that I'm really excited to bring forward. But before we get into it, my name is John Kovacs Jr. I'm the founder and CEO of Champion Circle, the networking association guided to create lasting relationships and accelerate your results and success and personal and professional growth and development. And I've been asked to host today's session as our team is out and about traveling and doing amazing things. So I've been handed the controls. It's exciting. I have so much power. And joining us today also is Mr. Ian Sturmer, co-producer of the show. He is an author and a coach, and he's currently en route to awesome places throughout the United States. And so we're excited to have Ian here. Followed by also we have Miss Lauren Cobb, one of the executives over at Champion Circle as well. Glad to have both you. And today we are reviewing and talking about this book right here. It's the Little Red Book. The Little Red Book, you say, what color is it? It's red. Why is it red? We're going to talk about that. And this is the Little Red Book of Selling, written by Jeffrey Gitomer, one of the sales professionals commonly known throughout the 80s, 90s, and, today. He's really powerful in his words, and he's got some great stuff. And we're excited to jump right on in and talk about some of the things we've learned from him. I'll read actually one of the first quotes in the Little Red Book, just to give you kind of an idea. If they like you, and they believe you, and they trust you, and they have confidence in you, then they, quote unquote, may buy from you. And that's really interesting, because sales isn't as hard as it may seem. The biggest thing that keeps us from succeeding in the world of sales is ourselves. It has nothing to do with the buyer. It has nothing to do with the, we'll say, the attitude. It all lands on us and how we are able to present and share and find the right people. So that is a huge misunderstanding in the world of sales, is people think that they're not just the buyers aren't buying. Well, there's probably a reason for that. And so we're going to dive right into it. Some of the first things I would love to ask, and I just like to turn it over to Ian for a second and say, Ian, you're familiar with Jeffrey Gitomer's work. What are some of your thoughts as you are getting ready to dive deeper into some of his work, and over the course of a few weeks, getting ready to read another one of his books? What are some of your thoughts, takeaways, and also just your excitements for the upcoming book?
Yeah, read many, probably not quite all of his books yet, but most of them. And two things I love about his books, and the reason that I'm excited about this one. One is he breaks everything down into just simple things. It's not a whole big, 3 paragraphs on you need to have customers like you. It's the sentence, make sure you're likable. And that's it. That's what you need from it. It's not buried in theory and background and prose. It's very practical. And I think that's the first thing I like about it. And second is kind of what I just said. He focuses so much through it on you need to have a relationship with people. The people need to like you. You need to like them. You need to be genuine. And these are not new concepts that we've never heard, but I just love that that's the forefront. That's the first thing. Um, be honest, love your customer. Well, I guess he doesn't say love. Like your customers, be liked by them. We'll keep it, simple here. Um, and just this is what it is. It's so practical that anyone can pick it up, read it, and say, okay, now I know what I can do. I can see where I was going wrong. I can see a new path forward. Um, so hopefully we can get some of that idea across to our listeners today as well, and encourage them, of course, to pick up a copy of this Little Red Book of Selling or any of his books.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And what I love about the book is each page is a lesson in and of itself. I open up the page. There's sometimes a little image or a little quote, or my eyes are attracted to the bold and the color. And so this book is just fun to read. I mean, you could easily fly through it in a few hours, but it doesn't mean it's a simple read. It means that there's good information. And I would love to begin with the first concept, which is, why people buy. Because essentially, we need to understand a buyer before we sell. And if you kind of put your shoes in the shoes of someone who buys, whenever I go to the grocery store, and this is coming from the perspective of a man who doesn't spend a lot of his time at grocery stores, but I'm getting better at it. And it's actually a fun skill that I'm developing. But for somebody who is learning that, I tend to buy things that are easier to find, that make it really easy, and that either has to do with packaging, coloring, their logos and lettering. They make it really easy for me to see, oh, this is healthier than that one. The price is better than that one. There's a lot of reasons why, but if I break it really down, it's because I'm looking for something and it fulfills a need that I want. That's really what it comes down to, is that it's something that I want, not because someone sold me, not because the sign said buy here now. It was more because of something I wanted. And so I reverse that, and I think, okay, well, when I'm in the position of sales, how do I get people to buy what they want if it's something that I am presenting to them without coming across as salesy? And there's a few really cool concepts in here, and opinions and perspectives that we'll talk about and share. But my answer to the question is, why do people buy? And it's because we help them see what it is that they want and need, or we learn enough about them to know what it is that they want and need, so that we can easily share with them how buying what you have will fill that need. And so that's something that I've began to see a little bit more clearer as we've dove into this book. Sales is all about just meeting the customer where they're at, what they want, because at the end of the day, they're going to make their own decisions. You can't force anyone's hand. You can't force anyone to buy into anything. They just do what they're going to do. And there are ways to do that. And really, if you think about it, it's less about you selling and strategically selling, and it's more about you being, like Ian said, likable. Are you a likable person? Do people like you?
Yeah.
Maybe you should look in the mirror and say, do you like yourself? Go ahead, Ian.
Oh, I wanted to jump in there, and something you said made me think about this in relation to the book as well. I think people buy because they need something. And the first thing we need to do is, if they don't already see that need, we need to help them. You go to the grocery store because you need food. Now, what likability comes in is they have to want to buy what we're selling if we want to be a good salesperson. And that's where that packaging, that convenience, that easiness, that extra 3 cups of sugar they put in the box for you to make it taste better, those are the things that make them want to buy what we have. So there's a need, and sometimes people need a little help to realize they need something, but the key is when they want it. And the likability of ourselves is a key to that. They want to buy it from us. Yeah, I talk to people in some consulting with small businesses, and one of the things I tell them is when you're doing relationship selling and talking to a person, you want to get to the point where they want to buy from you more than they necessarily want the product or service you have to offer. They first want to buy from you because they like you. Then they look for a reason to buy from you, and they want to get a something. Then it's easier to sell them on that product or service because they would like you. They want you first. Building up that likability want, because needs are nice, but when you get somebody to want something, that's when they buy. Um,
I
Needs,
love
they'll buy anything. Want, they buy your product.
Yeah. It reminds me, I was listening to a podcast and it's on selling, and they use a lot of the principles from this book. And he was saying, they talk about being genuine. They talk about how you need to obviously be likable, but it's also what people know about you, right? Like you can't just go in there and have your customer know nothing about you, right? You need to build that rapport. Nowadays, a lot of it is social media presence. So they're like, if they see you and they know your brand, they know your face, it's going to be a warmer lead going in. And so you need to portray the same branding. Your, you know, your branding is you, is essentially what it is. So you need to be the same genuine person you are in person as you are online, or they will clearly see through that. And I just thought that was really cool because we all hear about it, like your branding, who you are, but a lot of it is who you know is what we've heard for a long time. And he was saying it's actually what they know about you, who knows you. And so whether that's by word of mouth, whether that's social media, you want them to know who you are. And so I thought that was really fascinating.
I think that's one of my favorite quotes from this book is it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think that's so true. I was just thinking as you were talking, if I tell you there's this great new spy thriller out there, movie that you should go watch, or I tell you Harrison Ford has a new movie, which one are you more interested in hearing about? Well, if you like Harrison Ford, hey, I like him. I want to go see the movie. It doesn't matter what it's about as much because you like that guy.
Yep.
It just hit me, guys, that I'm sitting in a room full of experts in likability, as you guys have both co-authored in a book focused on the likability factor that Dale Carnegie writes in How to Win Friends and Influence People. You, Lauren, Ian, and even William, who's not here today, have all written their own chapters based on this idea of likability. So in that
You.
case, what's that?
And you.
And myself. Thank you. Let's start with the basics. I mean, I know people probably get tired of hearing this, but there's a reason why we go over them. What makes you likable? And I'll start with a few ideas. Number one, approachable. Like if you look like a bum, no one's gonna feel comfortable walking up to you. There are very few rare people in cases and totally and YouTube channels built off of people who are of no fear and they walk up to homeless people and they do good deeds. Like there's a reason why they do a good job. It's because 99% of people don't feel like they can approach you if you don't look great. So take care of yourself. Literally take a shower, do your hair, brush your eyebrows. I don't know, do whatever it takes to exactly. Yeah, it's more of a reminder for me, but
Oh, yeah.
good idea, Ian. No, I'm just
I know
kidding.
the next thing I'll get you guys.
Exactly. Be approachable. And that may not just mean, take a shower, clean up and look nice. Smelling good is important. There's two things I like to invite people to do. Number one is wear clothing that's approachable. If you wear inappropriate clothing, it's intimidating. If you wear kind of bland clothing, you may blend in like camouflage. Wear clothing that's flattering and satisfying and is approachable. I like to wear a black
Something went wrong.
Alexis says that something went wrong.
Something
No,
went
Thank
wrong.
you. Okay, I'll stop saying her name. I like to wear a black t-shirt, and it actually has the writing misfit on it. And the word misfit, it's interesting because I get reactions from people, and people who resonate, people who relate are always like high-fiving me, fist bumping me, saying, "Hey, me too." And they just keep walking. And that's a weird way to get attraction because I'm attracting what I'm wearing. And although those interactions are kind of fun and I like the attention at times, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking more of like people who see you and say, "Oh, that looks like a nice face. I can approach and ask for direction." The other thing I was going to say is you wear nicer clothes. Doesn't mean you have to, spend a fortune on clothing, but just wear stuff that's flattering, that makes you approachable, and that makes you look clean and approachable. But the other thing I invite people to always wear is wear a smile. Like when you see people, smile. I forget in public when I have headphones in, when I'm on a mission. I have this resting, worried face. It's not approachable, and my resting, worried face is like I'm in stress. I'm just like looking for something as if I'm seeking golden treasure, and I'll beat up anybody in my path. But really, what it's all about is wearing things that make yourself approachable and likable. So my advice to everybody is wear clothes that make you approachable and wear a smile. Let me ask the group here, what are some of your thoughts and basic foundational principles on being likable?
I'll jump in first. I think a big part of being likable is liking the other person. So I think even though, it's like having a smile when you're on the phone. Well, they can't see the smile, but they can hear a smile. If you're talking to somebody and even, a sales presentation, sales one-on-one, and you're thinking, how much money can I get from them? There's some connection there that they can read that and they can see that it's not genuine. And I think when you look at somebody and say, I want to help them, I think I can have something that will make their life better. And in your mind, you like this person, you want this person to be happier. I think people can sense that. When you're being genuine, that you actually care about someone else, they can feel that and they're going to care about you. So putting the other person first, recognizing that sales, and Jeffrey Gitomer talks a lot about this, sales is not about selling something to somebody else. It's about someone else recognizing that their life will be better because of what you have to offer them. And when that's your perspective, I think people are going to like you because they can sense that you genuinely like and care about them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I remember first jumping into this space, 4 or 5 years ago when I connected with John and really jumped into this world. I was so concerned about like being overly complimentive and it not being sincere, it coming across not being sincere. And so it's really a mind shift you have to make in yourself. You have to choose, am I really genuine in what I'm saying? You can be genuine saying, "Oh, I love your shirt." It's not just like a fake, like, "Oh, hi, I just want to talk to you" kind of thing. But they can sense if you're genuine, right? Like, and you train yourself to be able to be that way, to be able to look at somebody and be genuine pretty quick. And really, it just comes out as who you are as a person. Because, like we talked about before, who you are behind the scenes really matters because people will read through you, if you're just putting on a face. So, being genuine but really caring about other people into like you were saying, like you have something that can help them. You're not out for their money. It's like, this is going to make your life better and easier. Let's work together. And I really have taken that to heart the last few years to be able to be genuine in that and know how to convey that right.
I like that. And it's going to jump in with a continuation part of that. I think another way to be genuine, or to be likable, when you give those compliments, find things that you have an interest in. I love watches, wristwatches. So for me to compliment somebody's watch that they're wearing is a genuine one because I really have an interest. I don't necessarily have an interest in shoes. So if I compliment someone's shoes, it's going to sound phony because I don't really have the interest. So look for that commonality that you actually care about. So you're giving a real compliment. And it's okay if you know it's also building that relationship and you're trying to get some trust with them. It's okay to have that as well in your mind, but be genuine about what you're overtly saying.
Yeah, I agree. And we are short on time today, but I definitely want to highlight some principles that we'll definitely want to get into with this book, because I think the main principle and foundation for selling throughout time, not just throughout the end of the month, is being a likable person and approachable. And you bring up some good points, and something we'll get into not today but at another time, is humor, and how we use our voice,
Yay.
how we use our our likability factors to approach people and to be approached. But I love what you've each said, and I think the principles here are important for anyone listening on the other end to recognize, that this is going to be a very, very powerful book. We highly recommend and encourage you pick up a copy of Jeffrey Gitomer's The Little Red Book of Selling. And I love that he refers to this as not only the Little Red Book of Selling, but it's also the book of buying. And one of the questions that many people ask is, why is this book red? And why red? And I've got a beautiful page here on page 18. I'll just kind of read through it, kind of give you an idea. But red is the color of passion. So as we talk about being approachable, people like people who like things. And if you have a passion for something, you become then approachable. You become an interest. You become interesting to others. And that's something that's really cool. Passion is the fulcrum point of selling. No passion, no sales. That's what he says. Red is the color of love. And if you don't love what you sell, go sell something else. That's important as well. Red is the brightest color. You must be bright in order to convert selling to buying. And then red is the most visible color, apparently, to the human eye. You must be visible to your customers with a value message, not just a sales pitch. And red is fire. If you're not on fire, you'll lose to someone who is. So I think those were some really great reminders of why this book is the Little Red Book of Selling, why red is important, and why colors matter when it comes to being likable, being approachable, to actually selling. And so just think about little aspects, little cues and things that you can use to enhance your ability to be approachable. I wanted to kind of end on that, as we have a few more principles we'll get into in our following episodes, but encourage our listeners to grab a copy of this book. You can find it anywhere: Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I oftentimes find this book at any bookstore. It's one of the featured books in the sales section, so you can grab it pretty much anywhere. But I'm going to pass it to my team here for any final thoughts and encouragements to our listeners before we wrap this up.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking red was the color of blood, and you got to fight and bash and maul your way through it. No, there's much more to it than that. And again, there's so many tips in this, and we just barely touched the tip of the iceberg on one aspect of the likability side of it. So I'm excited to get more into it. And I'll leave it hanging there so people are excited to hear the cliffhanger. What are we going to talk about next week?
I love that. Yeah, I am excited to dive into this because, it's part of everyday life. Whether you're selling a product, whether you're selling coaching, whether you're just negotiating with your kids, it applies. And I am excited to dive in and dig deeper. So I'm excited to talk on it next week. So we'll see everyone then.
I love that you said the word negotiating with your children, because sometimes it feels like something else, but I love it. So, Ian, Lauren, thank you for joining me. And I know it's a quick episode, but I just want to say thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this month we're talking about the Little Red Book of Selling. At Champion Circle, we want to give applicable implementations and strategies and lessons for you to take home and to apply into your lives and in your businesses. And so every so often we want to read books like this that enhance our skill sets as human beings, as business owners, as entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great episode of Champion Reads. As we bring this to a close, I just would like to remind you that if you have any questions, you want to send us some comments, or you want to participate in the show, please send us an email to team@mychampionscircle.com, where our team will receive your requests and inquiries. And we'd love to hear from you. Also, if you love the show, give us a 5-star review on whatever podcast channel you listen to us at, so that we can reach more people, read more books, and find more resources to provide this content for you. And last but not least, we'd like to encourage you to go to mychampionscircle.com. That's mychampionscircle.com, where you can learn more about what we're doing. Join some of our virtual roundtables that we have each month. Get involved in one of our mastermind programs, or even get involved in one of our accountability coaching programs, where people are using accountability to achieve their goals at rapid success rates. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time today. We'll see you next time on Champion Reads.